Yo, what's up guys, it's ApTreX here. Today in this video we'll be comparing two of the best Windows emulators for Android devices, the Horizon Windows Emulator as well as the MOBOX Windows Emulator. We'll be finding out which is the best Windows emulator for you guys in 2024. Before starting, if you guys are new here though, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on all notification as I upload similar videos on my channel. With that being said, let's start with the MOBOX Windows Emulator. Now first of all, I want to clear this as soon as possible. If you have an MediaTek processor or an Exynos processor Android device, then let me tell you guys straight away that MOBOX is the only Windows emulator for Android that has support for Virtual if we are comparing Horizon or MOBOX emulator. If you have MediaTek processor, then no matter what, you'll need to use MOBOX Windows emulator. With that being said, let me show you guys the settings which we are using inside of this emulator. In terms of current configuration or dynamic preset, we are using the preset 45, which is very stable for performance and also good compatibility. Once that has been done, as usual, eSync will be enabled. And MOBOX Emulator unfortunately hasn't really received any new updates since a very long time, which is a bit disheartening, but I'm guessing that the developer is working on something big for the MOBOX Windows Emulator Android. With that being said, let's just go ahead and start the MOBOX Emulator and see how well does it work with our today's game that we'll be testing out in both these Windows emulators, which is obviously GTA 5, one of the fan favorite games. You always ask me to test out this game on many emulators, so that's what you'll be getting, okay? Anyways, let's just go ahead and open PC games folder and let me start GTA 5. The first thing you'll notice is that file manager is pretty smooth inside of the MOBOX Simulator. Everything is loading properly. But one thing which you'll notice is that if you have the latest brand new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 Android devices, then you might face some issues as follows. First of all, MOBOX Simulator won't provide you with the maximum amount of performance possible on Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 devices, as this emulator has still not been optimized for such devices. So for today's video, I am using iQ12 with an Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor Android device and 16 GB of RAM. And you will be able to see that GTA 5 has successfully booted, and at the top left side of our screen we have the FPS bar as well as some information about our GPU and also DXVK version. So DXVK 1.10.3 is what we'll be using along with the latest Turnip version 6 driver that is available in MOBOX Simulator. But if you ask me, then Horizon Windows Emulator has lot new graphics driver as well as Wine versions, so that is something you'll need to note. Now I'll be back once the game actually starts. Alright, there we go guys, GTA 5 has successfully started inside of the MOBOX Windows Emulator, and immediately you will be able to notice that the FPS that we are getting is so low, like almost 17 FPS while emulating this game on a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 Android device, and it is so unoptimized. Even the input bridge on-screen touch controls is closing by itself. So obviously this emulator is not that optimized for Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 Android devices. That's the point which I wanted to prove, and just take a look at the stuttering issues which I am facing, like almost 9 to 10 FPS, and when I start moving around there is such a huge amount of delay. Like seriously, this is completely unplayable experience, and I don't even know why my character is walking on its own. Let's try to ride this bike, and I'll start moving around on my bike to show you guys how much lag will we face and the stuttering issues that we'll face. But one thing which you'll need to understand is the fact that the heating issues or the thermals in MOBOX Simulator is flawless. Like even though I'm running GTA 5 on my Android device, my phone isn't heating up at all. That may be because MOBOX Simulator isn't utilizing the full potential of my Android device. Nonetheless though, obviously 10 FPS, it's not an playable gameplay experience at all, and I don't know what's happening with Franklin. That was pretty funny how it actually glitched. But once you start riding around in the city, you'll notice the FPS drop down to almost 4 to 3 FPS. That is very poor amount of FPS, at least in MOBOX Simulator. But at the same time, if you guys have a rooted device with Wine eSync root mode enabled as well as Snapdragon 870 processor, then no one can beat the performance that you get in MOBOX Simulator, like almost 50 to 60 FPS with very minimal heating issues. Nonetheless, it's just giving me 3 to 5 FPS, so obviously this is an very unplayable experience. And I'm not a MOBOX Simulator hater, by the way. I'm just stating the facts, and I'm also taking the side of MOBOX for reasons that MOBOX hasn't been updated yet, so it does not have the latest Wine versions. Anyways, the next emulator that we want to test out is the Horizon Windows Emulator with 9.7 Wine vanilla build container that I have already created. And here are the following settings. Box 64 version is 24 April. DXVK is obviously asynchronous 1.10.3. Turnip driver is version 8, which is not really present in MOBOX Emulator. That's the main reason why it is lagging on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. Afterwards, let's check out if we have any new updates. So we have some new updates. Let's tap on the update all section. We got a brand new turnip driver, that's pretty cool, and we got Wine X input mode. Alright, while it's being updated, let me just go ahead and show you guys some of the environment settings which I am using. I have created a specific preset for performance, so you guys can pause the video and take a note of these settings which I am using inside the Horizon Windows Emulator for performance. This is performance specific setting, so be sure to follow this setting if you want better performance on your Android device while emulating Windows game. And now let's just go ahead and scroll down. We have new container options now been updated, so we get obviously container options from the home screen itself. All the updates have been set up now, so let's just go ahead and go back. Let's tap on the file manager option and start our Wine 9.7 vanilla container. The Horizon PC emulator has successfully started, and also the file manager or file explorer experience in Horizon emulator is way faster than MOBOX emulator, as you can probably tell by just looking at it. Let me just go ahead and launch GTA 5 and we can compare the gameplay results that we got from MOBOX Emulator as well as Horizon Emulator. So guys, there we go, the game is about to start and we have Mango HUD, which is not really available inside the MOBOX Emulator. An FPS graph at the top right side of our screen which tells us how much FPS are we getting, the GPU load, CPU load, as well as an FPS graph including resolution as well as turnip driver information. Nonetheless, let's wait until the game starts. Alright, there we go guys, Horizon Windows Emulator has managed to start GTA 5, and at the top right side of our screen we'll be able to see you'll be able to see we are getting anywhere from 29 to 30 FPS, but once we are outside the house you'll be able to notice that our FPS has gone up to 50. It is almost 5 times more FPS than what we were getting inside of the MOBOX Windows Emulator. That's the level of difference in terms of performance between MOBOX as well as Horizon Windows Emulator. And just take a look at how smooth the game is actually running. Obviously there are some stuttering issues, it is present with IQ due to lack of optimizations, but nonetheless the gameplay experience is super smooth because obviously we are getting almost 50 FPS. Now once you start moving around inside your car, you will also notice that the stuttering issues are very minimal and we are getting almost PC level playable gameplay results of GTA 5 emulation. So performance wise, emulating GTA 5 on Horizon Emulator makes the most sense, but thermal wise, not at all, man. Like, I have just started playing GTA 5, I can feel my entire device getting burning hot. I'm not even joking, like this entire side steel or whatever, it's getting super hot, and I am afraid that my phone will blast in my hand and there will be no longer ApTreX, there will only be a shell of ApTreX. I'll need to use some sort of robot to make videos, but hopefully that does not happen because I'll stop playing this game as soon as possible. But nonetheless, jokes aside, the device is getting overheated and yeah, it is not optimized. That's what I want to tell you guys. Horizon Emulator, if you try emulating any PC game on it, you will get the best performance, but because you are getting best performance, it is using maximum amount of your CPU resources, and that's why your device will start overheating. So I hope that the developers of Horizon Emulator notice this issue and add some sort of protection on it, whereas if you try emulating this game on MOBOX, then there will be no overheating issues because the FPS that we are getting is trash, to be honest. And that brings us to the conclusion of our today's test. If you want to play games at high graphics at best amount of FPS possible, go with Horizon Emulator, but do note that your device will start overheating. But if you want unplayable results, then obviously go with MOBOX Simulator. But if you have an MediaTek processor Android device and if you want to emulate games in those, MOBOX is the only choice. So I hope that makes everything clear. None of these Windows emulator are completely stable, that's why we still have issues like overheating or lagging issues. Though don't worry, I'll keep you guys up to date with all the latest Windows emulation on Android news. So hit that like button, subscribe, turn on all notification. That's going to be it for today's test. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching and goodbye. Peace out.